Hi, and thank you for watching or being a part of TargetedWest.com's work group, our podcast every week. I'm a retired tech worker and DJ here in beautiful Lodi, California, my trusty camper. It is the 18th of February 2024. It is 6 p.m. And this, believe it or not, is our 100th show. I know. So if you're on Spotify, or if you're on one of the other platforms with video, please like, subscribe, and make a comment, and tell your friends about us. Today is a special guest, of course. We have Amy Kate. She's a licensed therapist with a master's in social work, an actual working therapist, and she also is targeted. And she's come on tonight to discuss with us targeting and therapy and about maybe some solutions to comfort you and maybe some ideas. We'll have a Q&A session, of course. And here we go. Amy Kate, come on in. How are you tonight?
Hi, DJ Chris. It's Amy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to make it. You worked today and then you were able to pop in. That's great. I really appreciate your time. So you're a therapist. Tell us more about this.
Yes. So DJ Chris, I actually got my master's degree in social work when I was 21 years old. So quite some time ago, from Wayne State University. Dad raised me and my 6 brothers and sisters in Southwest Detroit, which is basically called Mexican Town. And I went to Cass Tech High School, which is a school for the smart kids, but make a long story short, I wanted to be an actress. And my dad told me, absolutely not. You're either going to be a social worker or a nurse. So I chose the field of social work. I've been a social worker now since, oh goodness, I'd say 1996 on and off. And I started out doing inpatient psychiatric social work in the state of Michigan. And basically from there, probably the last 10, 15 years, I've really done a lot of solid social work in both the states of Nevada and Michigan. Everything from Beaumont Health System, Henry Ford Health System, Nevada Health Centers, online therapy through BetterHelp. I've also ran my own private practice for couples and individual psychotherapy in Royal Oak, Michigan. I'm currently a contractor. The past 2 years, I basically work for different contracting agencies. They hire me to go into hospital systems, large multifaceted clinics, and do medical social work, psychiatric social work, and individual and group psychotherapy.
That's great to know. And of course, that's an incredible career. So social work involves more than just what you would think social work involves. People think it's just getting someone hooked up with services, but this is a medical, mental health, social work type setup you have and what you're doing. That's incredible work. So you and I talked about this earlier, and this is what people are really going to be interested, is how you listen to people and their stories about antennas in their head and inserted voices and such, but they're their own or their family members. Can you tell us more about that and how you've witnessed, in your opinion, people are being targeted?
Yeah, definitely. It's very subtle at first. In some of my agency work and hospital work, I began to notice strange occurrences happening with my patients. And, let's just say we started out in Nevada. I started noticing a particular woman who was telling me that she was passing out. A fairly healthy young lady with really no history of anything other than maybe dating someone that, we'll just put quotes around this term, a gangster or someone that may have been involved in doing illegal activities such as selling narcotics, or maybe were, spying or stalking, a beautiful woman or a handsome man, or just involvement in something that was, let's say, extracurricular outside of her doing nails. And she just began to tell me that she was passing out with no apparent reason. And then 15, 20 minutes later, she would wake up with no real reason for this. And so I would just listen and observe these phenomenon. So then I started some contracting work in Michigan, and I began doing group psychotherapy with patients who were targeted. Everything from individual physicians being stalked and targeted at like Walmart or Target, large food chains where some of the physicians were actually being stalked, and then all the way to voice to skull in the group setting, where I would ask patients about what was going on with them, and they would almost get upset because as soon as they began to talk about it, they were labeled as a schizophrenic, and or hearing voices, or bipolar, when some of these people were just working folk, and they just all of a sudden at 35 or 40 years old, they started hearing voices. It never happened as a child. It never happened as a teenager. It never even happened as a young adult. It happened later in life, and all of a sudden they just started hearing these voices that were driving them crazy.
Yeah,
And
mine started at 43, by the way. You're right.
interesting. And so typically the onset of a mental health disorder such as psychosis, bipolar with psychotic features, or schizophrenia usually will start much younger. We have some patients, I have dealt with some patients as early as 7, have had schizophrenic symptoms. Now, we typically don't diagnose that early with those types of symptoms, but they began hearing voices, or it's almost like they become possessed. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think it was Tuesday. I got sucker punched right in the face by this beautiful young boy. He was completely out of control and was just so afraid that people were harming him, and the mom was like, I, I don't know what to do. This has never happened. And so when we look at, I think, at targeting, as I've grown through my own practice and learning, I have to really be careful, like I said earlier, about deciphering what is medical and mental health issues versus a targeted individual.
Incredible. That's exactly the way it should be. I mean, how else would you do it? Continue.
So, for the sake of confidentiality, because of the type of work I do, I could never mention a person's demographic data, their age, their name, their race, where they live, their birth date. All of that is under something called HIPAA, and that is it's like a law, and I believe it's Health Information Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. So I cannot give you any data in regards to my patients, but what I can tell you overall is that they come with a certain set of information that is different than a classic patient that's had bipolar, schizophrenia, anxiety, or depression their entire life. The targeted individual is typically somebody that comes on that begins having symptoms of something soft, like I feel hazy, I've had brain fog. Sometimes I just can't think clearly. Um, Oftentimes they'll say, I'll sleep in my car because I don't want to be inside of my house because my house feels scary. They typically will try to get out of their environment or run away. And that's a clear indicator to me that escapism is coming into play. And I've also had that escapism myself, DJ Chris.
And I know people on calls that have the same thing. They've been in apartments and homes. Some people escape. I know people have talked about that many times. They had to get away. In my case, I got in my RV and left the house. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
matter of fact, I bought the RV to get away from the house because of the energy that was there from the targeting.
Yes, yes. Me personally, oh goodness, I have moved so many different times since 2021, 2022. I mean, at least five, 6, 7 times, um, because I didn't understand what was happening to me. I really, I really thought that the basement was possessed. There was all these crashing sounds coming into my new home that I had just purchased, and you know, my mom would be sleeping in the bedroom, and she would hear this bouncing of a basketball up against the window, and we would see footsteps in the snow up in the, near the bedroom windows where I was changing, and I began to notice people outside with like taking pictures, flashing cameras, like I was some sort of movie star. So it was very odd. And my mom was, you know, Amy Kate, this house is possessed. And so coming from a Catholic faith and and being spiritual and doing rosary, we began to think that the homes were possessed. And so we would just simply move. And then it would happen at the other place. And then it would happen again at the other place until I finally started realizing when I moved to my condo, oh, oh, I started waking up and sweating and hearing noises up above me. Um, I almost felt like I was being cooked by a microwave. It was a very odd feeling. I'd wake up vomiting, crawling to the floor, helicopters over the home. Um, I noticed one time I woke up and I saw like a number, like 5432 678, almost like a stamp, a blue stamp across the um, wall. And I was like, is that some sort of identity, some sort of number that's stamped on my stomach?
So you had a sort of a hologram, basically,
Yes.
on your wall?
Yeah, I
Okay,
was.
that I didn't know that. I had that happen twice at the beginning of my targeting. So you're in the hologram phase like I was.
Yes, yes. And so that was a couple years ago. And so, um, you just kind of brush it off like, that's interesting. And so, because I am also a registered yoga teacher, I got the registered yoga teacher 200 hour from a wonderful yoga teacher by the name of Johnny Kest out of Lifetime Fitness in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. He always told us to just observe, just notice your bodily sensations without reacting. So after 5 years of training, I really had to kind of pull back and start noticing, noticing without reacting. And so the reactions really start to came more when I started to really get hit hard in Nevada, and I was passing out, falling off the bed, having asthma attacks, trying to grab my inhaler, and they were happening often. And so we couldn't figure it out. I had multiple MRIs. brain scans, internal scans of every organ in my body, and I'm completely healthy, Chris. So they never could figure out, but they thought maybe I had epilepsy. But then realized that, once I got off of the medication, it wasn't the epilepsy at all. It was being targeted.
Wow. Wow. I just muted myself. Wow. Do you know, were you, by the way, near any Air Force bases or anything when you
Yes,
lived in Nevada?
yes. So I absolutely.
Now we're ringing a bell. Tell me more about that.
So I actually lived in a really large home in Nevada, and I started noticing, like, I guess you could say airplanes or like helicopters. I'd hear this boom in the middle of the night, and I was like, what's that? And then I'd hear kind of like these footsteps and stuff around the window. Nevada was a very, very, very quiet, so I could hear footsteps outside my window, and I keep the windows open because during the day, the Ruby Mountains were so, so hot that it would almost burn the inside of your home. Like it was just 90, 95. So at night, you had to open up all the windows in the home to have it cooled. And so I'd hear these like footsteps and things, and I didn't really think anything of it. But I began to start hearing sounds and noticing just almost like I was feeling like I was getting cooked in my bedroom. Also, very sexual feelings would come over me, like I don't know if you want to call it like a love bomb. It just all of a sudden,
I call it the lust bomb, and they do it even at appropriate times with inappropriate people around you.
yeah, it was very weird. All of a sudden, this blue light or some sort of lights would come in, and then I'd see this flash boom, and then all of a sudden I would just feel completely euphoric, like the best orgasm in the world. And then all of a sudden I felt like death, immobilized. Legs would be immobile, arms immobile. Respiratory was still there, breathing was still there. The neuromuscular systems were completely shut down. And so I would
Do you
literally,
think it's possible that you were drugged and someone who may have gotten into your home? Because in Dr. John Hall's book, that was a possibility he wrote.
um, I don't know. I honestly don't know if it was a drug or if it's some sort of, um,
A remote vibrating
yes,
harmonic feeling. Yeah, they can. DARPA's coming out with electric RX. They're going to give you a prescription to an electric signal that vibrates you a certain frequency to make you feel better.
yes, that's absolutely what was happened to me. And
Gotcha.
so, yeah, I decided, well, if I'm going to be out here by myself, I might as well be back with family. So I actually ended up coming back to Michigan and being around my family. And they seemed to really, welcome me with open arms and started to realize that something was going on with me. And so, yeah, I mean, I continued to work. I never actually stopped working, except for one time when I was at the hospital. All of a sudden, a rush of IT people and security people came into the office where I was working. They started pulling computers apart and going through my papers and tearing things out of the wall. And I said, "Well, what's going on here, gentlemen? I'm a contractor." And they were like, "We are confiscating this entire area where you work." And I was quite shocked. I had no idea what they were doing. So about an hour later, one of the supervisors come in and I said, I really need to talk to you about what happened. And they pulled me into a room and they said, Amy, Kate, we've heard that you have cameras inside of you, or are you telling people you have cameras in you or implants in you? I said, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they said, well, we're sorry, but we don't feel comfortable with you being in this hospital any longer. And I said, you're kidding me. And they said, no, you have some sort of mechanism where you can remotely hear things. And I said, I have no clue what you're talking about. And so at that point, and this was just 8 weeks ago. And I was like, okay, yeah, now then it really came to fruition, DJ Chris, that I was indeed targeted because I had no idea
Did
that
the
I had
HR
anything.
department tell you that?
No, that was my actual supervisor, the director.
Yeah, that's not cool. I would think your HR would handle that a little better.
Yeah, no. And they actually put on my record, do not rehire. And I was
Lovely. Well, there's 100 million hospitals out there, so no worries.
exactly. I just,
I
yeah,
know you
so
don't have an antenna. That's the weirdest thing. How could they even say that? That's bizarre to say that you have an antenna or a camera in you and you're broadcasting. I know they're worried about HIPAA, but that's an extreme. Accusing somebody of being a remote camera.
yeah. So, yeah, but I think honestly, that's what happens to people that are targeted.
Do you think your supervisor was a perpetrator or involved in it?
I have reason to believe that there may have been some people, yes, on that unit that did not want me there.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Well, like I said, there's other fishies, other hospitals in the sea. Just fish.
Oh yeah.
Go to the next. Take your boat, your yacht to the next one.
Yes. So
they'll be waiting for you.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work out there. People are needing mental help. People are broken right now. A lot of people are financially broken and mentally broken because of it. Just that alone.
Yeah. One of the things, Chris, I believe in and I practice every night is manifestation of our thoughts and our reality and our belief. I really believe that we manifest what we bring to the table. And so let's say, for instance, the participants out there are feeling targeted or they're feeling a certain kind of way.
You have 84 participants, which means you're way over 150 already. So keep going. You have a big audience. Yes, they do have that feeling. Go on.
Wait, we have 84 participants from 23?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I'm honored. DJ Chris, thank you so much for having me on. I feel honored and blessed to be here, sir. So a couple quick things that I wanted to share with you. I want to talk to you a little bit about a book called The Walls Protocol, a radical new way to treat all chronic autoimmune conditions using paleo principles by Dr. Terry Walls, MD. She's the founder of the Walls Research Fund with Eve Adamson. Because of my targeting and things that were happening to me, I was feeling tired constantly. So I began to change my thought process and think, how can I change what I'm doing, the way I'm feeling, and feeling like a prisoner in my own body? I began to realize that all of the money in the world, DJ Chris, can't stop this. Even though I have wealth, I'm very successful. I have brokers. I feel very confident in my ability to bring in income. However, I also felt very depressed because I felt trapped in my own body. So I began reading her book and how fruits and vegetables in the paleo principles can change our life. So I've been on the paleo diet now for 3 weeks, eating 9 cups of fruits and vegetables every day. I've also been practicing meditation for intense subliminal messages from 10 p.m. to 1 through listening to with my headphones on to I am principles, which is I am amazing, I am wonderful, I am strong, I have fun at work. And so I listen to these things over and over again in order to help me get up and work 12, 13 hours a day in the hospital. And so we have to change the way in which we believe we're being targeted in order to stay positive. When you're positive, you eat 9 cups of fruits and vegetables a day, you really take control of your mental health, the targeting could still be there. And you still might get angry at them for, throwing something at your window, but it becomes lessened because you're able to be so powerful with your physical and mental health. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I practice that myself. Matter of fact, we were joking today about how they push meats and not vegetables. There was a commercial on for Arby's. We've got the meats, and we were laughing and say, "Do you ever hear them say, we've got the vegetables?"
Absolutely. Let me tell you that it is going to be costly at first, but if you could, there's a crock pot here in this woman's house that I'm renting, and I just throw everything in there with some beef broth or chicken broth and let that simmer for a good 6, 8 hours. Then what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the vegetables and broth and I'm packaging up. So let's say you guys work a 6 hour or 8 hour shift. If you continue to eat that and sip on that, what you're doing is you're releasing all of those toxins, all of that. If it's a microwave you're getting hit with, or you have an antenna, or you have some sort of autoimmune or lupus, or any of these types of medical diagnostics, when you eat such high powered fruits and vegetables that come from good farmers markets, and you practice the mindfulness, you will begin to manifest your own power and have healthy, I hate to say it, but have a healthy bowel movement, urinate frequently, beautiful skin. I'm 50. I have no problem sharing with people that I'm 50, but most people think I'm about 32 or 35. And I attribute that to constantly eating fruits and vegetables and meditation.
And you don't. If you can't get to a farmer's market, sometimes I get the frozen fruits in the farmer or at the grocery store, and I use those for smoothies and stuff.
Yes, smoothies. What a wonderful way.
With yogurt.
Yes. Now, the Walls principle, she really does not recommend dairy. So I have slowly tried to cut out the dairy. It is tough because I love frosting on cookies and cakes. So it's hard. But once you cut out some of that dairy, she says try it for a good couple of months and then you can reintroduce, yogurt. But if you're finding that your stomach is hurting, I notice when I'm targeted, my stomach hurts a lot. I get hit with stim in my stomach a lot. The positive thing, guys, about getting hit with stim, um, E-stim is an electrical stimulation. We used it back in the day for patients that have post-traumatic stress disorder. We would put it certain parts of their brain to stimulate them, or certain parts of their muscles to stimulate them. And what we found is that E-stim is actually good for us. So even though we're getting hit in our foot, in our stomach, in our, in our genitalia, the stimulation that they're actually providing us with, if we have an autoimmune disease or a medical disease, is actually good for us. It helps build the neuroplasticity of our cells. It helps rebuild the mitochondria of our cells. When you can rebuild mitochondria, you will stay sharp. And so that is also in this book. I can't tell you enough. It is, I think, I bought it for $20 at Barnes and Nobles just on Sunday. So You can get it from the local library or you can get it from Barnes and Nobles.
That's good to know for our book club. Is there any way you could email that to me later during the week and I'll add it to the book club?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we're into giving people comfort because this targeting isn't going to end right away. It's still going to be around. We have to figure out a way to end it. And until we do, we at least need to feel better. And I notice when I eat well and take care of myself and exercise, I can handle the targeting a lot easier. It's my mindset's better.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about your exercise, DJ Chris. What are your favorite types of things that you like to do?
Well, I do the yoga moves, but I haven't done any in a while, so I've been, neglectful in that. And I haven't been walking because it's been so cold, but I walk around the whole park here, and I do some stretches and movements, and every day, at least.
Wonderful, wonderful. Stretching. That stretching component also helps the neuroplasticity in the muscular skeletal, system by stretching those ligaments. Another good thing to do is massage, breaking up the fascia so that we release some of that neurotoxins. It's not always easy if we have a lot of buildup of neurotoxins from the EMFs, from the microwaves, from any outside things that are happening to us in our bodies, the stim. Sometimes if it gets to be so much that it starts to become painful, that's where you have to stop and say, okay, let me stretch, let me get a massage. Even I think yesterday or after I got sucker punched by that kid, I went into the therapy pool at the local YMCA. So that's another thing that we can also do is get into like warm water. Oh, and I just rested my chin in that warm water for about 20 minutes and it felt so much better. So,
Yeah, I have a hot
yeah.
tub here at the park, and at my house I have a garden tub with jets.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hot tub, wonderful idea. I think the local YMCA might also have a hot tub. And if you're a student, if you're in med school or if you're taking courses at the local community college, show them your badge. And you can go ahead and get a student pass. I think mine was $22.
Yeah, well, luckily I get a hot tub as part of the Guterman here at the park, so I'm good to go. But the house has that tub in the bathtub area, and but that was a nice bonus. And when I'm achy, that really helps. But yeah, self massage is important too. If you can try that, try and self massage, especially the feet. The feet are where all the nerves end. You really can benefit your body by using reflexology. Have you ever tried that?
I have not tried that. Can you give me a little bit more information on what that is like?
Yeah, well, the foot is where all the nerves of the entire body, the meridian of the body goes to. And the foot, different parts of the foot represent different organs in your body. Near the big toe is where the heart is. So if you're having heart problems, you massage near your big toe. If you're having problems with stress, you massage the center arch. And from there, there's guides on the internet. But giving yourself a nice foot massage, your shoulder massage, if you're on the computer a lot, the wrists, the hands, it really helps, like you said, and it gets rid of the toxins. Drink a lot of water to flush, of course, afterwards.
Absolutely. That sounds like a wonderful thing to learn is reflexology. I would definitely like to do that. I have done yoga. I have also done massage. And I think that meditation, the one I'm listening to now is off of YouTube. And I want to say the guy's name is Jason Stevenson. It's called I Am Affirmations. It is 3 hours long, But I can't tell you how much in the past 2, 3 weeks it has really, it's starting to change my thought process. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I almost sometimes am thankful. Like, why did we get picked? What makes us so special that they want to do this research on us? I mean, it's horrible, but yet at the same time, if we change the way we think about it, it's almost like we're the chosen ones.
I think we are a lot of gifted people, people with talent, people with skills, people who have backgrounds like yourself, tech people like myself, doctors, nurses, engineers, the man on the street, the truckers. Everybody has the customer service rep, the baker, the man on the street all have this. Yeah, it's just a cross section of every different type of person and socioeconomic level, race, creed, and background.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. And thank you for having me on. I feel so honored to be here with you tonight, DJ Chris, and having 83 participants is just phenomenal. Hats off
Well,
to you, sir.
that was 6 minutes ago. You're up to 91. You'll be over 100 in a little bit. So you're very popular. So we'll definitely have you back for sure if you like that.
I would love that. I would love that.
So for your listening, this is DJ Chris at TargetedWest.com. You're listening to me and Amy Kate. And Amy Kate is a registered social worker. She works in the hospital system. She takes on therapy. If you'd like to contact her, do you have an email address for people to
I
contact you, or would you like to have them go through me?
Either way, I'm fine with they can either send me an email or they can reach out to you, Chris, and if you would be willing to, sort of filter it for me. Basically, I do couples. I do individual one-on-one therapy, and I do group psychotherapy. The reason why I reached out to you is because I was on conference calls and I noticed they were a little bit sporadic and people just had this sense of not panic, but almost like pain. And I would just listen and listen for past months without really talking. Um, and I really felt that this group or subset of people need support, free support, just to be heard, but in a way that's therapeutic, where we can be fair and show each other dignity, respect, kindness, loving. Even though our targeters are, you know, it's like they're mean, cut us off, and they follow us sometimes, but we don't know what they're going through. What kind of day are they having? Is someone making them do this? Did they, did the police officer, did they get told, hey, you have to sit outside Amy's door today? No one wants to babysit a clinical psychologist for 8 hours. And so we don't know what their day is like. And so I thought about that and I thought, why not have a support group or a way for people to come together so that they can voice their opinions without being judged? And that's really what made me reach out to you, is because I thought, what a wonderful platform to do it.
Yes, and Targeted West is available to be that platform, so you could arrange for a time, a day when you're available, and we can have people other than the Sunday call get together, of course.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Of course, with feedback.
That'll be in 2024, so it'll be down the road, of course.
No problem.
So I have to think about it and when to do it, what time, when you're working, when you're not working. It's kind of hard to get a direct, exact time when, of course, there's different variables. So we'll work it out.
Wonderful. I'd be honored.
Okay, well, we're going to switch to um, question and answer mode so people can ask you questions. We'll do this for a few minutes and then we'll go to the book club. So let me switch. You'll have to unmute yourself again, Amy. Okay, our first question for you, Amy Kate, is from Pam. She has no audio, so I don't know how she can hear us. And we have our guest singer here tonight, which is great. But does anyone have a question for Amy Kate tonight? Come on in.
Hi, Amy. I'm so glad that you have come on to the scene. I appreciate you and your feedback and your tell-all, and I appreciate DJ Chris. I go by SHP online. So there's a couple of notes I made, and I can verify that rapid neurofascial release is effective. I have used it. Extremely painful. It brought my feet back so that I could use them. Doesn't stop the other factors that are going on in my life. And you mentioned God. I want to draw your attention to the fact that God spoke everything into existence, which is frequency, and that the prince and power of the air is frequency. And if you look up those, it's kind of self-explanatory, right? Now, as for your work, they said that they detected a camera on you. So I believe that there are systems in play. I can tell you that there is one targeted individual who has confirmed cameras in her eyes. This was confirmed by a university. Her name is Dr. Black, and I'll leave it at that. I appreciate the feedback on the eating and the mindfulness. However, I would like to draw to your attention that you wonder why the targeting is occurring. Well, I am aware that there are multiple watch lists. One is the violent offense list, and you don't have to be convicted of a crime. You can be nominated to the program, and it's a chipping program in Canada. The program here is called, I believe it's called Project 112 In Vivo Body Area Network Surveillance Systems. There's also another chipping program, and it's tied to counterterrorism. And that's utilizing the NSO Pegasus software stuff. And you can actually verify if you're being tracked by the NSO Pegasus software by looking at the source. View the source inside of your email and look for a word called Trident. The Trident is used in mercenary software. There's also other aspects of this. Now, I was wondering if you were aware of any DNA factors that were involved within tracking for beast genetic tracking of beast 1 and 2, as in haplogroup tracing. Because it appears that a lot of this stuff shows up in our GPS coordinates where we live, which is bioinformatics, which is also neuroconductor within a divert, which is also European Union brain research and European Union bioinformatics. And I was wondering if you know of anything in regards to crystallography, because that also shows up in victims' GPS coordinates. They can be in Canada, they can be in New York, they can be in Florida, and this stuff shows up in their GPS coordinates. So I'm just kind of wondering about the DNA factors, if you're aware of any of those. And with that, I will shut up now. And thank you for coming on to the scene.
Wow, Pam, you sound brilliant. I'm so in awe of all of the things that you've talked about. So thank you, first of all, for educating me. Because of my work schedule, I don't use as much research that I need to in regards to all of the things that you were saying. I loved the tidbit on the DNA. I've heard little pieces. I want to say that I was in a conference call and there was a woman by the name of Bobby who came on.
That's actually me.
Oh, Bobby. Oh my goodness, Bobby. Bobby, I listened to your story and I said a rosary for you and your husband that night after we got off that conference call.
Yeah, he died. He died in January. Yeah, he died on 18. Yeah, I thank you for your prayers. It hasn't been a good journey. I miss him, and there's not much I can say other than I miss him. And I'm glad I have the community to engage. The moving around, I know that quite well. We've been jumping around like crazy, and now I'm without my guardian, my protector, my best friend, a brilliant man who knew that the program was real. There's many things that I could discuss with you. I can tell you that you can Google. It's called BEAST, BEAST. Add the word genetic. Add the word genetic to it, and there's BEAST 1 and BEAST 2. They are tracking genetic family groups, whether they have back mutations or no back mutations or whatever reason, a disease process, they are tracking. And my haplogroup is one of the ones they're tracking because we contain some of the most back mutations in the world and one of the rarest genetic groups in the world. One other target I was able to connect with, she did have her DNA done. She found her haplogroup, and I was super excited. So I inquired about her haplogroup. I said, oh, just let me, inquire it really quick. And I found that her haplogroup came from the same region. This is a bit mind-blowing. It was indicated as a cradle of life, i.e. Israel. So, very odd, completely different haplogroup, but her haplogroup mentioned my haplogroup, which is bizarre. It's just bizarre. So you can go into these different aspects of genetic research, i.e. predispositions towards mental health issues that demonstrate, but always carry a biomarker, i.e., as you said, which will demonstrate when a person is young. I've done a lot of reading on so many different things because things interest me, right? And I believe in God. So when you believe in God and you're faced with science, what is God? God is a science we don't even understand yet.
Yeah.
Now we'll just be quiet. And now I would love to email you and engage in a conversation because there's some very strange factual things that will shock you.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that. Send me an email, Bobby, and I'll forward it to Amy Kate for you. We got to go on to the, no worries. Let's go on to the next question. Next question for Amy Kate. You're talking to a real therapist. Come on in, Amy Kate. Come on in. Open mic.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Brooke, and I had the good fortune of being on Targeted West episode number 88 with DJ Chris, and it was Thanksgiving weekend. So I want to introduce myself. I am a fellow master's in counseling psychology. For 35 years, I've been trained in different contemplative practices of Buddhism, prayer, Ho'oponopono, Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism. I am so deeply honored to listen to you, your journey. And what I want to offer is that what this process is for me is a completely divine process. I have been targeted now, saturated since 2021 by 2 psychotic neighbors. And my story is individual in that it is 2 individuals. And one of them is Don Maynard Dokken, Dokken. He's former head of a heavy metal group, Dokken. I've put this out to everyone that I can because there are individual men in particular that have gotten their hands on this military-grade technology, and they're using it as their entertainment, their video game, whatever it is. It's their entire. So I want to say to you, what needs to happen as a therapist. I've trained with Thomas Hubel, Hubl, He's a worldwide trauma
Yes.
with epigenetics, and how what is occurring now is all these forms of war and so forth that have gone through lineages are surfacing to be healed. So we are the chosen ones to transmute. My question to you is, I listen to other calls, and frankly, they don't serve me. They traumatize me.
Yeah.
What needs to happen are empathetic circles of presencing where we could attend specifically to each of our individual experiences and start to form mobilization of solutions. This individual, Don Dawkins, was my neighbor in a gated, wealthy, I'm a wealthy woman. I drive a Porsche. I had a home, $2 million home in a gated community above Santa Fe, New Mexico. And he moved in next door, direct out of LA, mind-blown drug addict. What needs to happen is all that I need is for a few other TIs to start entering through social media, get into his fan forums and say, hey, what's 70-year-old Don Dawkins doing in Santa Fe, New Mexico? We've heard that he's a psychotic serial stalker. Because our perpetrators, they have a weakness. They have an Achilles heel. All that needs to happen is we go right in, bullseye to their Achilles heel. Mine is, he is so deathly afraid of being publicly exposed. So targeting is about isolation, and what we can do together is we can get specifics, and we can start saying, I'll help you. What doesn't work in these calls is people listen, and then they go their separate ways. And it re-traumatizes.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'm going to make sure that you get, I'll make sure that both of you connect on email,
Thank
okay?
you.
But we need to go to the next question in line, please, for Amy Kate. As we wrap this up, we have to switch to the book club now. So sorry there's no more time for questions, but do you have a question? Bring it on in.
Hi, Amy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, fair is partly cloudy as usual. What I say.
Hi,
partly
dear.
cloudy or partly sunny, whichever the case may be. My question is, I heard you say that you could help on the therapist level for TIs. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's why I came on.
So with that information that is privately discussed with you with each TI, may I ask you what will you be doing with that information?
Absolutely nothing. I practice something called motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is for you. It's not for me. So as a therapist, I have tried to become an expert in this technique. It's basically a technique that utilizes the information that you, DJ Chris, anyone that shares with me something, I take it, I turn it around a little bit, and I give it back to you so that you can help yourself. Basically, I won't be utilizing any information for research, for nothing. My job is to help. And the reason why I want to do this is because, I'll be honest with you, it's a lot. My job is stressful. It's a lot. And I keep thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, having my own practice, learning how to do things on my own. And when I, just heard that there was 23 people and then 50 people and then 100 people, I'm so honored. I thought, well, what better way to get started than with one person at a time?
Thank you.
One client at a time.
Thank you for your question. I don't want to be rude and disrupt, but we have to go to our commercial and the book club. The book for the book club is really terrible. I don't recommend it. But here we go for the new commercial.
It's time for the TI Book Club, where every book opens a door to new worlds and shared journeys. Here, we uncover hidden gems, specially selected for TIs, and always within your reach. Be part of a community that reads together, grows together, and sees the world through the same lens. Don't just listen to stories, live them with us. Join now at bookclubs.com/TI-bookclub/join, and let's turn the pages of adventure together.
Yes, and this week's book is Project MK Ultra Mind Control Tech, compilation of patents and reports by Axel Balthazar. I gave it a 6 because the lettering and the print was so tiny you would need some type of magnifying glass to read it. So I don't recommend it for the money, so I gave it a 6. The book I wrote poor book design. The articles are too small to read without a magnifying glass. So that's your book club for the week. We just have one more little spot to play, and bear with me a moment. Yeah, here it is. Our friends at TI Events will be up shortly with a tribute to DJ Chris for our 100th show. I won't be recording it for copyright reasons, but you guys will be here to listen to it. And here's a commercial for TI Events, by the way, who will be doing that segment coming up at 7 p.m. Here we go.
Welcome to TIEvents.org, your official insider for the targeted individual community. As the go-to source for all TI events, we're here to keep you in the loop with the latest and greatest happenings. Discover daily conference calls, meetups, and exclusive events across the USA, all at your fingertips. Plus, planning a TI event? Advertise with us for free and connect directly with the TI community. TIEvents.org is not just a website. It's your gateway to a world of information, connection, and empowerment for TIs everywhere. TIEvents.org, your official insider. Dive in and discover today.
Next week's book club will be announced. I don't know what it is yet. I haven't chosen. So go to TIEvents.org if you're listening to this recording and you want to go to a call or watch a show. There's replays of everything on there. It's TIEvents.org. On every Tranquility's on every search engine, so just type in TI Events. Anyway, we have 3 more minutes left before the recording ends. Thank you, Amy Kate, for coming by. We're going to be looking forward to having you come back again for sure.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. It was an honor and pleasure, and I'd love to come back again.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this on Spotify, listening to it, of course, and watching me on your platform, please like, subscribe, and make a comment, and tell your friends. Again, joining the book club is free. I update it every day for sure. I don't not update it. It's always live and fresh. We have 124 members, believe it or not. Isn't that amazing, Amy Kate?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's so fantastic, DJ Chris. What an honor.
Yeah, so that's about it. We're going to just talk for 2 more minutes. Of course, if you hang on after the recording and people have questions after the singing, we'll have you around if you'd like, unless you have to go. And then if people have a question, you'll still be here for a little bit.
That sounds fine. I'd love to hear the song.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yes. So we're all good to go. In 2 minutes, we'll turn off the recording, and then we'll have my friend Constance sing a song for me, which is quite an honor. And I will have my friend Tranquility from TI Events, my BFF, coming on to give a tribute. And that'll be in less than 1 minute. So, again, I appreciate you watching me on your platform, and I appreciate the call. We had over 100 people so far, and it is quite a busy night. It is our 100th show. That's 100 calls I've shown up to. 104 makes 2 years. So how are you going to beat that? This is DJ Chris at TargetedWest.com. You can find out about my books for sale and other stuff at TargetedWest.com. Scroll down and you can see where the option is for the book club and for my books for sale and for the audiobooks that I sell. So again, thank you and have a great time.